Docket 14-10417 and 15-10384. Mr. Hernandez is present in court, represented by attorneys Jose Baez, Ronald Sullivan, George Leontire, Linda Kenny Baden, and Michelle Medina. The Commonwealth is present, represented by Assistant District Attorneys Patrick Hagan, Mark Lee, and Teresa Anderson. Good morning, Your Honor. All members of the jury are present.
Good morning, counsel. Good morning, folks. Now let me inquire of all our jurors since you left yesterday whether any juror has discussed this case, has read, heard, or seen anything about this case, or had any contact with the case outside of court. If you have, would you raise your hand? And I see no hands raised, and I find the juror remains indifferent. And I want to thank you and frankly commend you for avoiding any exposure to this case since you first came in the second week of February, and up until this time. It really reflects the seriousness with which you take your duties to focus on the evidence presented and to avoid any extraneous information outside of court. I thank you for that. Now, having said that, it's come to my attention that I guess it's the beginning of next month. A new television series is starting on the Fox television network. It's a show entitled You the Jury, and apparently involves mock trial presentations or trial arguments based on real-life cases where attorneys present evidence or examine witnesses or whatnot, and where then viewers become the jurors and respond to polls and reach their verdicts. I tell you that because it's come to my attention that in one of the earlier, or perhaps the first episode to run, one of the attorneys in our case are a featured attorney in that television show. So I'm going to ask that you exercise special care and caution in avoiding any exposure to that particular television show starting, I think it's April 7, and to the extent possible, please avoid any exposure to promotional ads for that show that may be running on the television, and in particular on the Fox television channel. It has no connection to this case, and please avoid any contact with those promotional advertisements for the show. Now let us continue with the evidence in this case. Mr. Bradley, you were before us yesterday, and you recall you were under oath in testifying, and I remind you, sir, you're still under oath today. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hagan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Bradley.
Good morning.
When we left off yesterday, Mr. Bradley, we had been going through the text messages between you and Mr. Hernandez following the February 13th, 2013 shooting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I believe we had left off, we broke for the day on April 11th, completing all the text messages on April 11th. I'm going to turn your attention now to April 12th, and we won't read all the text messages remaining, but I will ask you to read some of those that are remaining. Let me start with what's listed on Exhibit 294 as text message number 66, all the way through text message number 74. Mr. Bradley, can you read the text messages starting on text number 66?
A list of things that can be subpoenaed: flight records that you booked, credit card records that you charged, Tootsie's, 2 straight nights of hotel we stayed at, Hooters. I can't see, you gotta slide it over here. Hooters. We ate at, you charged Bamboo we couldn't get, and cause someone wore shorts, the club we did go, and you charged bottles outside. KOD we didn't go in, and it was closed as a result. We went to Tootsie's La Quinta we stayed in, I think you charged them. Let's see, the flight you booked to Arizona without your brother in 3 years of vacation, you never went somewhere with me and left me there, seats next to each other that you always request, plus a trick up my sleeve I won't mention you think this looks good for you in civil trial. Not to mention,
Let me stop you there, Mr. Bradley, just to explain, what are you doing by listing all of those things that you did and all the restaurants you went to? What was your purpose in giving that information?
because he was telling me I couldn't win this, telling him that I could because there's too much evidence right there.
And what did you mean when you referenced, plus a trick up my sleeve I won't mention?
I don't even recall what it was at the time.
And can you continue to read on text number 70, this line here?
If you sued in Florida, the state will automatically, if I sued you in Florida, the state may automatically pick up criminal charges, and that's without me snitching on you. And I don't think you have any wins any way this pans out. I don't know. Oh, mall footage, Wellington at the Green, to be exact. I'll holler though.
And just let me stop you there. When you say snitching, what does snitching mean?
It means cooperating on him and the matter, the Florida matter.
And is cooperating or snitching different than lying, at least in your mind?
Yeah, it's different. It's totally,
How is it different?
It's totally different. Lying is lying. Lying is not telling the truth. Snitching is cooperating with the police against somebody, telling on somebody for an act that they committed. A truthful act that they committed, I should say.
And draw your attention now to the next line after the mall footage. This line here, sir.
See where threatening me get you nowhere. I'm done though. And I don't be nowhere you know me to be. Good luck.
And the next line.
I can't see the next
Sorry.
line. And I had to finish all my surgeries in West Palm Beach, so if I was a rat, you would have been done. Remember that.
When you say if I were a rat, what did you mean by rat?
Because I went down to Florida other times. I went back down there for surgeries, for additional surgeries. So I could have still went back to the police department again even later if that's what I wanted to do.
And just as far as for those who may not know, can you compare the words rat and snitch? What do those mean, at least in your
It's the
mind?
same thing.
And is a rat similar to a snitch, lying or telling the truth, but telling what they're not supposed to tell?
It's telling the truth about a crime that was committed.
Well, the jury may consider it as it relates to this witness's understanding or use of those terms, that is, to his state of mind in using those particular terms.
Now, sir, I'm going to skip a few texts, and we'll go down to text number 79 at the bottom of the page, starting with the word having. Can you read that text, sir?
Having too much pride don't go very far. Don't understand why if you was man enough to shoot me, why you ain't man enough to compensate me. But I bet you won't be posting that mug. Shot on Instagram after this civil suit. And you still gotta pray that the state of Florida don't grab you after that, because they kept my Tootsie's wristband and evidence log. The only thing they didn't release back to me, damn, you stupid, bro.
And bra, is that another word for brother? Or
That's bro, yeah. Like,
And is there a text back from Mr. Hernandez's phone following that text?
says, yeah, the text says, you up?
And you responded?
What up? What up again? And I guess I'm a bitch, because when I think about what you did, I cry.
And what did he respond?
He responds saying, I don't have a lawyer, because no need to, but I have my agent calling your lawyer tomorrow or the next day latest, so just wait for the call. Love you and can't believe this.
Your next text, sir?
Yo, I hate when you say you can't believe this. I can't believe you did it like that. You don't get it, and I still didn't give no type of cooperation, and I still be holding my, it's VE it says, to worry about threats. But one, I ain't scared, more like prepared, and two, I don't do those, and three, a small part of me believes you didn't mean to try to murk me.
What does, I'll stop you at that text. What does murk mean? What does murk mean?
Kill.
Murk is another word for kill? I'm going to call your attention now to the next page. We're going to skip a few of the texts and go to text number 91. starting with really loved. Can you read that series of text messages, sir?
Really loved your ex-brother. You would want to compensate me for doing something like shooting me for no reason at all, after all we've been through, before you let somebody make you think fun.
And when you said after all we've been through, what were you referring to?
Everything. We just been through a lot. Not particularly any one thing, a lot of things.
And did those lot of things include the events of July 16, 2012?
Yeah, that was included. That's one of the things, yeah.
And can you continue to read? I don't want to.
I don't want to see your life ruined, and I don't want to harm you or see you harmed. I want you to compensate me for what you did. Oh, for what you know you did.
Continue, please.
Like I told you, you're going to do what you're going to do. You're going to try what you're going to try, but at the end of the day, all that's going to get you nowhere, because I'm the only one who could stop this from happening, and I learned from the best how to get low. You pop up when necessary.
And what was a text from Mr. Hernandez's phone?
You will hear from them in the next 2 days, because I am not trying to ruin my name over this bullshit. And just when you go to sleep, know it's your brother, and I miss you and I love you, and still watch videos of us having fun every single day, and can't believe this, and we'll keep saying I can't believe all of this. I truly can't believe all of this shit is going on. I loved you with all my heart and still do, but just think how much I love you, and think if I would really try and kill you when we were that close, I wouldn't and never would want to hurt you, and you know that, but I love you, and it kills me every day. I don't have the person saved under that nigga calling me. You were all I had, and I get tears every day and wake up to this fucking shit. Love you. Good night.
Now, so I'm going to call your attention to text messages on the next page, starting with text message number 98. Can you read that series of texts, sir?
TS, how I felt when you did me like that, especially in front of them niggas, was heartbroken and ego torn. Dog, niggas in my hood was saying this nigga let this Bristol ass nigga smoke him. Thought I was retarded till I started coming through again and hitting niggas up for spreading rumors about me on my kids. You stole my trust and tore my ego, because out of all the people who tried, my ex-brother was the one who did. You have whoever called my lawyer, because he think whoever your peoples is stalling, and I don't want him to send that suit off to Florida today. No funny shit, for real.
And Mr. Bradley, when you referenced in the top text about doing that in front of those people in Florida, who you were talking about?
In front of whoever his friends were, when he shot me in front of his friends.
Which friends were you referring to?
I mean, I don't know their government names, but a guy who I indicated to you yesterday.
The guy you identified as JP or
Yeah,
JD?
yes, and
The other person who was in
another
the car?
person, yeah, who was in the back.
And what is Mr. Hernandez, the text from Mr. Hernandez's phone after right there, sir?
Call me.
And what is your response?
I'm seeing my surgeon for my eye. Give me a minute. I will. I'm getting a procedure done on my eye. I'm stuck at the hospital until like 3. They about to put me to sleep to do this bullshit. This is the shit I go through, dog.
What was his response, or the response from the phone of Mr. Hernandez?
Just tell him he'll get a call. Ain't nobody stalling, just figuring shit out. And I'm being for real. Just tell him don't do buttons stupid for no reason when they about to call.
And on the next page, text message number 108 from the phone of Mr. Hernandez says what, sir?
Yes, they left a message for your boy because he ain't answered.
The next text?
Have him call 949-636-1170, Brian Murphy.
Who did you understand Brian Murphy to be?
As Murph, I thought that was his agent,
His sports agent?
sports agent or something like that. Correct.
Now, so I'm going to skip ahead to text message number 113 that starts with the words, my daughter. Can you please read that series of text messages?
My daughter just asked me when we were going to stay at Uncle Aaron's again, and you know how that shit feels. You have no idea. When I said no, she said, oh, why I miss him, shaking my fucking head.
SMFH, that's what that means?
Yep.
What was...
He put, I miss her just like I miss my nigga.
And continue to read, please.
My other daughter then said, hey, no fear, I never got to stay there. See, when shit like that happens, then that's when this shit is real to me. That's all I wanted to say. Imagine how you feel if Avi was old enough to say, where's Sherrod? I want to see him. And you said no, and she said, why? And the situation is so ill that you can't even explain to her. Or you can't even explain.
Who is Avi?
That's his daughter.
Mr. Hernandez's daughter?
Yep.
And that's who you're referencing there when you say if you had to explain to Avi?
Yeah, I was telling him if the roles would switch, how would he feel?
Can you continue with the next two text messages, sir? 119 and 120?
And if they did, you don't even want to. Fuck me, I hope that type of shit sit on your brain. Word, you was family to her.
When you say you was family to her, who are you referring to?
No, just my kids. We were just close like that. We just.
I'm going to skip a series of texts, Mr. Bradley. I'm going to go to text message number 134. And just for the record, we're at May 3rd, 2013.
134, you said?
Yes, starting with the word mass.
It said mass is popping right now.
Now that's a text from Mr. Hernandez's phone to you.
Correct.
Do you know what did that mean to you? Mass is popping right now.
I don't know for sure. I interpreted it to be like the clubs.
The clubs?
Yeah, like the clubs out at mass or whatever.
What was your response?
What you talking about?
And his response?
The clubs out here. Check Twitter. I'm out here clubbing. It's just different without you.
What was your response?
Oh man, enjoy that with your new boys. Just remember them niggas ain't me. And wasn't always for whatever like me until you crossed me, the realest nigga you ever had and will have.
What was his response?
Same here, and I didn't cross you, but just know I love you and never will be the same, but I ain't gonna stop living, brother.
Your response?
And I know that. Oh, and I know you know that.
And what? Can you read the next series of text messages, sir?
Yo, when did I ever say you was? Live your life. You a man, nigga. If you stopped living, I would have been very surprised.
His response?
Damn, I miss you, but no, I'm always here for you until you kill me like you say you was.
Your response?
You a funny guy. I told you I don't feel like that towards you. You the one that keeps saying that.
The response to Mr. Hernandez's phone?
Never, man. I just know you and how you are, and I know you're gonna try that, but I'll be around tomorrow, and if you ain't about that, talk to me.
Your response, sir?
You don't believe me, you're crazy. If that's how you felt, think about the bullshit I would have got on if you say you know me.
And his response, sir?
Let's meet up tomorrow then. What up?
Your response?
Listen, dog, you sound crazy. You tell me to meet up with you like I trust you, and on top of that, you did me dirty. How you gonna not believe me when I trusted you like that?
Your response from his phone?
We could meet up in front of them people, or when you got all of your peoples around, but I did you dirty. Fuck out of here. You doing me dirty. And
what do you say next, sir?
you talking some meet up shit. How dare you try to rock me twice?
What did you mean by rocking you twice?
Like, try to get a chance to harm me again, like 2 times.
What was his response?
I wouldn't rock you twice. Just want to say what's up to my nigga. I still need to do it once. I'm imagining that's what he was trying to write. And then it says once.
And what is your next response, sir?
Dog, the worst part is out of no fear I do it, but out of no trust, couldn't do it. Dig, I never been done so crusty again. Still done know how you could do me so dirty. And I see the slick talk, say it once.
I'm going to skip a number of text messages, Mr. Bradley, and we're going to go to text number 197 on May 4th, 2013. Starting with the word listen, sir, can you read that series of texts?
Listen, the one thing you know is I definitely don't want to ruin your life, but we both know that. But I don't know how you think you're going to do whatever you want and just have no consequences for your actions, who I look like. The problem is that you don't want to settle this. You got too much pride, and it's cool to be like that with certain niggas, but when it is what we was, you got to accept your wrongs and understand that. Yo, I don't think you understand at times. You be dealing with a nigga who just used to love you so much. I couldn't see myself trying to ever do anything foul to you, despite what you did.
We're going to forward your attention now to text number 208, starting with why.
Why couldn't you rethink what you did? If you really love me and then you want to settle this, and whatever is in store for us is in store. If we're going to be cool again, that's what it'll be, but it got to start by resolving this incident that went down. I don't know, your choice. But I'm telling you, the situation ain't going to go unresolved. Not even on no gangster shit. I'm just saying we both know what happened, and that ain't okay to do to your so-called boy.
Who are you referring to as so-called boy?
I'm talking about myself.
Just going to forward your attention now to text message top above 217. Can you start with wanted?
If I wanted to try to harm you in my heart, I would have settled for whoever is close to, because all the people you care about, I've seen already. So let's just solve the situation so both can resume life. But I'm not going to allow you to go on living this high life without compensating me for that bum sucker shit. That's a life-changing experience. And no matter what you believe, I love you to death, but what you did was wrong. And on that note, I'm done.
I'm going to forward ahead to text number 276 on May 20th, 2013. Starting with the word, the words, yo, it's sad.
It was sad that it even comes to this, because it was a time, no matter what went down, we both never had a funny thought or feeling towards each other.
And the response from his phone was what?
I know I miss you every day, but I'm trying to move on and never will have a friend again, because I can't trust nobody, so why bother?
I'm going to forward ahead a number of texts to text number 312. For the record, on May 29th, 2013. Starting with the words, listen again, can you read that series of text messages?
Listen, again, I hate that it comes to this, but you can't go through life consequence-free when you do certain shit. You should want to do this if you really did miss and love me. It's crazy enough in itself that I really don't feel a way towards you, in the sense that I don't even think about trying to hurt you or anyone you love. It really, like, I have forgiven you, but you gotta do what you gotta do, meaning you know this compensation thing is inevitable. I hate the fact that I even gotta handle this like this. You should have been offering this to me. But just like it was real when it happened to me, it's real it's gonna happen to you if we can't resolve this. And I know you know that I don't lie about shit. You were my brother, best friend, and a lot of things to me. So when you ask, do I miss your daughter? Would have been my goddaughter? Hell yeah.
Let me just stop you there. When you say, do I miss your daughter? When you ask me, would have been goddaughter? Hell yeah. What are you referring to?
Well,
I'm going to object at this time. The next 8 pages are just Mr. Bradley speaking by himself. There's no conversation. These are all self-serving statements.
You at sidebar.
Mr. Bradley, you had just finished reading the text where you said, a lot of things to me. So when you asked, do I miss your daughter, would have been my goddaughter, hell yeah. What were you referring to?
I was referring to my ex, like how we used to be cool. We're not cool no more, so, you know, everything, we're not family no more.
When you mentioned your daughter, whose daughter were you talking about?
That's his daughter,
And what
Mr.
did you mean
Hernandez's
by
daughter.
would have been goddaughter?
Because that's what it would have been if we were still cool. You know what I mean? That's what it was before the situation happened.
And had you had conversations with Mr. Hernandez about
With
possibly
him.
being a goddaughter?
Yeah, with him,
With who?
with Mr. Hernandez.
And can you read the next series of texts, sir? Starting with I do?
I do. When you say, do you miss my girl? Yeah, I do. She's a great person. I couldn't have been any happier when she finally accepted me to be in y'all's lives. When you wonder, do I miss you? Hell yeah, I do, but you owe for that. You always say you'll never be the same and won't have friends. I never gave any new friends again, but you won't get away with this. I'm already don't got it in me to even beef or try to beef with you. I really do love you, my boy, but again, you won't get away with that.
And we'll skip a number of the text messages, so we'll go all the way to text message 357 on June 3rd, 2013. Starting with the word trust. Can you read that text, sir?
Oh, trust them teammates and niggas you think fuck what you don't. The players don't like you, and them niggas you rock with ain't official.
What did you mean by that?
What I said, people, I was talking about his friends and other people around him. I was saying his
Including
friends,
his teammates?
yeah, teammates, I was saying.
What were you saying the relationship was with his teammates?
I don't want to object. Mr. Bradley's not a New England Patriot. What does he know?
Overruled. Ladies and gentlemen, these texts are not necessarily offered for the truth of what is contained in the text, but rather for the fact that they were said by either Mr. Bradley or Mr. Hernandez in the context in which things are said. Mr. Hagan.
And the response from Mr. Hernandez's phone was what, sir?
Just be up here, nigga, and you're the closest thing to the police without being the police. Shouldn't say that to me, and you know I ain't. And don't fuck with anyone.
And what did, in your mind at least, being the police mean when Mr. Hernandez said that?
He was trying to equate the matter of me trying to sue him. He was trying to equate that to me being a snitch because I was suing him civilly.
Equating it to being a snitch?
Yeah.
And Mr. Bradley, ultimately, in June of 2013, did you file a civil lawsuit against the defendant, Aaron Hernandez?
Yes.
Was that civil lawsuit in relation to the shooting of you on February 13th, 2013?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Bradley, in the text messages that we've gone over on Exhibit 294, there appears to be numerous references by you to the closeness of your relationship with the defendant, including after the July 16, 2012 homicides. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
How close did you get after the homicides, after that initial period that you described yesterday? How close did you get?
After the homicide? Is that
After the
what you're asking?
homicides, but before February 13, 2013.
Real close. We're best friends.
Did you spend time at his house in North Attleboro?
Lots of time.
How frequently would you stay overnight there?
It would depend. There's been times, 3-4 times in 1 week. There's been sometimes not at all, but a lot.
And was there a room in the house that you actually stayed at and kept clothes at?
Yes, there was a room in the basement that I used to stay in.
Did you keep clothes there?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Bradley, I just want to touch upon any prior criminal record that you had. I'm going to call your attention now to 2006. Are you the same Alexander Bradley who was convicted in Manchester Court in Connecticut of possession or sale of marijuana?
I was convicted of a possession of sale, correct?
Of marijuana. Is that right?
I believe so. That may not be right. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. What does it say exactly on there?
Well, what is your memory of
I know
what you...
I have a conviction of a drug conviction. I thought it was a sale conviction, a conviction for a sale.
Okay, and do you remember what, was that on the date of July 10th, 2006 was the disposition date, but the arrest date was March 10th of 2006?
Correct.
And you had a guilty finding on that charge?
Correct.
And calling your attention now, Mr. Bradley, to a time after you came to the grand jury in October of 2013, calling your attention now to some months later in February of 2014, were you arrested for an offense in February of 2014?
Yes.
And were you held in custody for that offense?
Yes.
At any time, did the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Suffolk County District Attorney's Office ever do anything for you on that pending case?
Not at all.
Did you ever ask for anything to be done?
No.
Were you ever actually released from custody after being charged with that particular case?
No.
Again, did you ever ask for help to be released from custody?
No.
And calling your attention now to the date of July 9th, 2017, did you plead guilty to certain offenses in Hartford Superior Court in Connecticut?
Yes.
Mr. Bradley, I believe I said July. That's January 9th of 2017. You pled guilty to certain crimes, is that correct?
Correct.
And those crimes, sir, you're the same Alexander Bradley who was found guilty of criminal possession of a firearm, reckless endangerment, and criminal mischief third. Is that correct?
Correct.
And was that for an incident that occurred in February of 2014, a number of months after you testified in the grand jury?
Yes, it was.
And has anyone from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the District Attorney's Office, the Boston Police, was anything done for you on that case?
No.
Did you get any consideration, any type of leniency based upon your cooperation in this case?
No.
Did you ever ask for any consideration, any leniency based upon your cooperation in this case?
No.
And in fact, Mr. Bradley, is it fair to state you're still serving a sentence relative to that case?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Bradley, in relation to the agreement that you ultimately entered into on October 8th, 2013, I believe you testified that you were not given immunity at that point. Is that correct?
No, not during my interview.
And ultimately, you were given what's called immunity the date you testified in the grand jury. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Mr. Bradley, can you explain why did you ultimately agree to cooperate and testify pursuant to the immunity agreement?
Because when it came down to it at the end, and I just wasn't gonna, go down for something that he did. I mean, I probably would have prior, but I had no more loyalty to him. Just after what he did to me, there was no more.
And when you say you probably would have prior, what do you mean by that? You would have, what, just said nothing?
Yeah, prior to that, I wouldn't have cooperated at all.
And Mr. Bradley, when you were brought in to the grand jury on October 8th, 2013, were you charged with anything in connection with the July 16th, 2012 homicides?
No.
And is it fair to state you were brought in as a witness at that point, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Bradley, I want to bring you back just briefly to the night of July 16th, 2012, when the shooting that you testified about yesterday occurred. I don't believe you were asked yesterday, but when you pulled up alongside the silver BMW at the intersection of Shawmut and Herald Street in Boston, just prior to the shooting, did you have an opportunity to see the men inside of that car?
Yes,
Did you recognize those men or man as anybody you had seen earlier that night?
yes.
Who did you recognize?
As the individuals from inside the Club Cure.
And did you see anybody who you recognized to be, as you described, the man with the braids who had bumped into Aaron Hernandez in Club Cure?
Yes, that was the driver. Of
That was the driver.
BMW.
And the other men in the car that were in the car with him, did you recognize them to be people you had seen earlier at Cure?
Definitely two of them, I believe.
Which two, if you remember?
The passenger and one of the gentlemen in the back.
The passenger and one of the
And
back
the
front seat
The
passenger?
front passenger and the rear passenger.
Now, Mr. Bradley, at some point, were you spoken to by Boston Police homicide detectives to get further detail or information as to how Mr. Hernandez had positioned himself during the shooting?
Yes,
And at some point, were you shown photographs that were taken of individuals inside of the silver 4Runner from which the shots were fired? Were you shown photographs of people posing inside of that vehicle?
oh, yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
First, Mr. Bradley, I'm going to show you a photograph. Appears to be an individual. You can see the shoes positioned in a certain way on a seat. Do you recognize that photograph, sir?
Yes,
Was that photograph shown to you by police detectives for you to look at and determine whether or not that was generally consistent with the positioning of Mr. Hernandez's feet when he leaned over you and fired the shots on July 16, 2012?
yes,
And that photograph that you see there, is that generally consistent with the way that Mr. Hernandez positioned his feet when he leaned over you and fired the weapon?
yes, it's pretty consistent.
Your Honor, after this photograph, is the next number good?
Is there an objection?
Yes, sir.
Without objection, let's proceed.
I'm showing you two other photographs, sir, that both depict a view from the side of that same individual positioned in that vehicle, the 4Runner, in a certain manner. Do you recognize those two photographs, sir?
Yes,
Were those photographs shown to you by Boston Police homicide detectives?
yes,
And the actions or the positioning or posture depicted in these two photographs, is that generally consistent with your memory of how Mr. Hernandez extended himself over you when he fired the shots on July 16, 2012?
yes,
Your Honor, for the two photographs, is the next number exhibit.
No objections at all.
296, 297.
First placing exhibit 295 on the screen, Mr. Bradley. And just by point of reference for the jury, Mr. Bradley, does this appear to be the gear shift of the car, the center console?
yes,
And this would be the driver's side area up here?
yes.
And what we see down here is just, again, just to orient everybody, is this the passenger seat?
Are you, I'm sorry.
Yes, is that the
Yeah,
passenger
that's the
seat?
passenger seat.
And the way that this individual's shoes or feet are placed on the side of the car, knees on the seat, is that consistent with the way you saw Mr. Hernandez position himself when he leaned over and fired the shots?
Yes,
Placing exhibit 297 on the screen, I believe you previously testified yesterday, Mr. Bradley, that your memory was that Mr. Hernandez placed his left hand on the center console and then extended himself towards the window when he fired the shots. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what we see in that photograph, is that generally consistent with the way that Mr. Hernandez positioned himself when he fired those shots?
Yes.
And what about the angle or the degree in which this particular individual in the photograph is leaned back? Is that more than you lean back, less than you lean back, or somewhere about the same?
It's close. It's probably a little more than I would have, but it's
So you would have been a little less leaned back?
a little less, but that's close.
And just to clarify that point, Mr. Bradley, prior to Mr. Hernandez tapping you as you testified yesterday and saying, "Watch out," how far back were you already reclined, if you remember?
I was already somewhat reclined, and I
And
just reclined more.
Placing exhibit number 296 on the screen, is that a similar angle showing the positioning?
Yes.
And is that generally consistent with the positioning of Mr. Hernandez when he fired the shots?
Yes.
As far as the degree in which this individual's leaned back, is that a little further than you leaned back or about the same?
Yes, a little bit further, but it's close.
May I approach witness, Your Honor?
You may.
So we're going to show you 3 photographs. Actually, I'll start off with the 2 photographs. Ask you if you recognize these, sir.
Yes.
And were those photographs that were shown to you by Boston Police homicide detectives at some point?
Yes.
And is this generally consistent, and I'll get into any differences that you see, but generally consistent with the positioning of Mr. Hernandez when he fired the shots leaning over you on July 16, 2012?
Yes.
Your Honor, for the 2 photographs, is the next number review.
No objections at all.
Without objection.
98
And showing you an additional photograph, sir, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And was that a photograph that was shown to you by homicide detectives?
Yes.
Now, the positioning of the arm in this 3rd photograph, and for the record, is it fair to state that it's an arm, it's a side view of an arm extended somewhat out of the car window, the front driver's side window?
Yes.
And as far as the degree or the length in which that arm is extended from the window of the driver's side, was that the same that you observed that night when Mr. Hernandez fired the shots on July 16, 2012, or was the arm more extended or less extended?
I believe the arm was less extended than that.
So a little bit closer to the
A
car?
little bit closer back.
But other than that, this is a fair and accurate representation of the way in which the right hand was extended from the car?
Yes.
Your Honor, for this photograph, is next number exhibit.
Counsel?
Oh, no objections at all.
300.
First placing, sir, exhibit 299 on the screen. The positioning of the individual here, was that generally consistent with the positioning you saw Mr. Hernandez when he fired the weapon that night?
Yes.
And the way in which the driver is leaned back, other than as you've indicated, you were slightly more forward, is that generally consistent with where you were?
Yes.
Exhibit 298, sir, is that generally consistent with your recollection of the positioning of Mr. Hernandez when he fired the shots on July 16, 2012?
Yes.
Are there any differences that you note?
Just, I mean, I feel like my seat was just up a little more.
So your seat was up further that direction?
Yeah, a little bit further, yep.
But as far as the positioning of this person, is that consistent with Mr. Hernandez?
That's generally consistent, yeah.
Finally, sir, Exhibit 300, this was the photograph I last showed you showing an arm extended out of the car. How is this in relation to what you recall regarding how far the arm extended?
I just feel like that's a little further of an extension, like that arm is a little out farther than he was.
So you recall Mr. Hernandez's arm being a little bit further in this direction?
Yeah, like a little bit back more into the car.
Mr. Bradley, on July 16th, 2012, did you ever fire a gun?
July 16th, no,
The night of this homicide, the double homicide, did you fire that weapon?
no,
Did you shoot those people?
no,
Did you ever possess the gun that night?
no.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Mr. Byers, you need a minute to set up.
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take a brief recess, not the full morning recess, but to allow